Hey friends, welcome back to SoCom Shop. I just wanted to give you a quick update. I mentioned the other day I've been having pain in these thumb joints and also in my shoulder, and I have bought myself this Dr. Arthritis copper elbow sleeve and these copper comfort arthritis gloves. And someone recommended, because I was saying I feel like my needles are like hard to push through, and someone recommended these Sashiko needles, and so they came in such a pretty package. So I am hopeful. I have put on my copper stuff, and another person said take breaks from sewing. But I love sewing so much, and I've been doing so much of it lately, so I do take breaks. I have a regular job, too. But, let's look at these needles. I think Sashiko, is so beautiful. Oh, wow, look at that. It comes in its own little awesome container. And the needles are very long. I got assorted long size. And this, I'm kind of sensory sensitive, so this feels fine. And these gloves, as soon as I put them on, I felt like, what a relief. Okay, so here is a Sashiko needle. One thing I can anticipate is I'm going to have to leave a lot more thread to tie a knot, and it seems very thick. But let's try it out real quick and just see what we think. And if anybody else has things that they do, I'm assuming that my elbows are hurting because of the sewing, because they weren't before I started sewing so much. But let's see. Let's try. I don't really want to just sew on this little piece of lace for a minute, or maybe this purple guy. I'll sew on this purple guy, maybe with some green. So I'm assuming that's why my elbow is hurting. Maybe like from overuse, maybe it's from arthritis. I mean, maybe it's the combination of arthritis and using it so much for never having, not having done the sewing in a while, and then all of a sudden doing like an hour of sewing a day, probably. Because when I told my thumbs started hurting like a year ago when I was typing a lot for work, and my doctor was like, oh yeah, that sounds like, okay, guess what? This is totally harder than even my regular ones. So, unfortunately, thank you for the person who recommended it, but that's harder to get through than my regular needles. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, maybe it's not as bad. Hold on, let's get started and see. Maybe it's a little better. But when my thumb started hurting, she was like, oh yeah, it sounds like arthritis. And I was like, but I'm 43. Like, is that when arthritis starts? And she's like, it's different for everyone, and like, it sounds right for you. I'm like, what does that mean? I guess I'm kind of a sensitive person who has a lot of ailments. I don't have a lot of ailments. I'm very healthy, but I'm a sensitive person. I don't know what I think about this, people. Maybe I could get used to it. It feels very big. Maybe I just have to do it a little bit more and see what I think. I think it's made, it seems from what I've seen, to, so you could do like a really long row of stitches without having to pull the needle in and out. I will tell you, these gloves are like a little clunky. I'm gonna have to get used to having them on, but I think that it I can feel that my thumbs are hurting less. And I will report back on how my elbow feels after wearing this for a little while. Okay, I think that it does. I think the Sashiko needle goes through more easily than a regular one, maybe. It's a little harder to control because I'm not as used to having so much needle happening. I don't know. I have mixed feelings. I was kind of hoping it was going to be like divine. But that's all right. All right, my friends. Sending lots of love.